What a thrill it is to be here, and how amazing it is to be standing in front of this amazing group of people, because what this organization stands for has been inspiring to me since I first read about it on Paul Levy's blog a couple of years ago. I was at the dinner last year, and when Linda and Winnie called and said, "Would you do the opening remarks?" it was like, well, of course. I mean, I'm a little humbled. What do I have to contribute to this group? But I got over that. What I want to talk about in just, that's what I do. What I want to talk about for just 10 or 15 minutes is a perspective on the theme of this evening, unlocking the opportunities. As I view it from the work that I'm doing now, I have, as you'll hear, I almost died of cancer a few years ago. The treatment that I got was phenomenally successful. And when I got through that, my doctor invited me to join a movement that he belonged to called e-patients, and I'll explain what that means. And one thing led to another, and as of February this year, this is what I'm doing full-time now, is advocating for the movement I'm going to describe to you and tie in to the reason that we're here tonight. It's about patient-provider partnerships. One of the top physicians in health technology at my hospital, Beth Israel Deaconess, is Charlie Safran, and he said to the House Ways and Means Committee a few years ago that he wanted that the resource that's most often underutilized in our information systems is the patient. And I think that's not just in our information systems. I think it's true in all of healthcare. We have this group of people who are intensely motivated to have healthcare work well, for heaven's sake, and yet so often in planning how we're going to improve healthcare, we don't think about engaging the patients. This organization is an exception. A year and a half ago, this group incorporated as the Society for Participatory Medicine. They actually decided it was time to stop just being a club and do something. And they also decided that since it's about doctor-patient partnerships, it just would not do to have it be run by only a doctor. So they elected a doctor and his patient as co-chairs, and that was my doctor and me. So of all things, I went from being almost dead to co-chair of a medical society. And it really has been like an Alice in Wonderland down the rabbit hole journey for me. I could give a whole hour-long talk on that subject. Health Leaders Magazine, which goes to health CEOs, hospital and health plan CEOs, heard about participatory medicine a year ago, and they interviewed a number of us, and to my surprise, made a cover story out of it that they called The Patient of the Future. And they said in the fine print under the orange headline, physicians suggest, patients ignore. Technology alone won't bring them together, but a new relationship just might. And they completely nailed it. They did a spectacular job in this story. It's about the relationship. Now, they sent a photographer, and I thought they were going to do the usual headshot. Frankly, I would have worn a different shirt if I'd known they were going to do this. But this is kind of the point. This is a middle-aged schlumpf sitting in his den, looking things up on the internet, being actively involved in healthcare in ways that were not possible 20 years ago because we couldn't get at the information that's out there on the internet. So I asked myself, me, an indicator of the future, patient of the future, and I thought, well, what the heck? I mean, who's getting online? In 1989, I was online on CompuServe, and last year, the Pew Internet and American Life Project said 83% of US adults are online. Then there's who's romancing online? Well, I met my wife on Match.com in 1999. And it's her birthday tonight. Is that wonderful? So I thought this was a pretty slick way to take her to a fancy dinner. And in 2009, 1 in 8 weddings in the US was people who met online. The world is changing because of what's possible with the internet. Now, in my case, and I'm going to shorten the 20-minute Dave's cancer story to about 90 seconds, I had a sore shoulder and I went in for an x-ray, and totally by coincidence, the x-ray discovered that there was something in my lung. And we found out that it was stage 4 kidney cancer. I was almost dead. This is the diagram of stage 4 kidney cancer from the website of the treatment that I got. These are the standard diagrams. Look, that thing in the lung, that's right where mine was. Amazing, and that's their standard diagram. The thing in the head, that shows a metastasis in the brain. Mine was in the skull. There's one in the leg there. The first symptom I had was when my knee started hurting 6 weeks later. I thought, boy, I wish I just had cancer again. Well, be careful what you ask for, because I actually had a big metastasis growing in my thigh bone. It eventually snapped when I fell on it one morning in May. In addition to these tumors, I had a bunch of others for good measure. And when I figured it all out, my median survival was 24 weeks after diagnosis. I was a sick puppy. And long story short, I was rescued by great medicine. I got a treatment that usually doesn't work. But I want to talk for a moment about the process of being an engaged patient in a partnership with my care team. First thing that happened once the biopsy was confirmed, my doctor literally prescribed that I join a patient community to talk to other patients with the same condition. It turns out this acor.org is a community of cancer patient listservs. The technical people among you will know that that's just plain old email lists. And there I got what turns out and has since been verified by my oncologist as the best, most up-to-the-minute information on treatment options. And I got to also talk to people who were in the same boat that I was. I started a social support community on Caring Bridge. Care Pages is another one that provides similar services. So I used the internet to gather people around me and get support. My support went viral. I eventually had people I hadn't seen since high school show up and give me support. And man, when you have an existential question of whether the universe wants you to be alive, and people come out of nowhere and cheer for you, that's a magnificent thing. Again, enabled by the internet. Then I went into attitude. I thought, my odds are crappy, but Norman Cousins, the editor of Saturday Review in the 1960s, had an incurable stomach condition, and he figured as long as he was dying, he was going to have fun. And he rented a movie projector, this was before video, and he watched Marx Brothers movies and started laughing his butt off, and son of a gun, he got better, all the way better. And he wrote this book, Anatomy of an Illness, where he said, every person must accept a certain measure of responsibility for their own recovery. Well, that was the 1960s. In my case, it was 2007. My birthday was coming up. I said, all right, people, let's go. I want every Bugs Bunny cartoon that's ever been recorded. I want the whole first season of Saturday Night Live on DVD. And I got them. I figured, the odds may be poor, but I'm going to do what I can to help the doctors. So I said, laugh. With Norman Cousins. PNI is the technical medical term these days, psychoneuroimmunology, for what probably helped him cure himself. Nobody can go back and diagnose the dead. But anyway, I said to my doctor, I said, I belong to the New England Champion Men's Barbershop Chorus, but I said I was getting tired in the evening. Should I drop out? He said, absolutely not. You don't want to stop life activities that you love. So I said to my people on Caring Bridge, all right, folks, the prescription is laugh and sing. It could be worse. And then they sent me a diet saying you got to stop losing weight. So it was titled How to Increase Your Caloric Intake. It was put real whipped cream on all desserts, get rid of all the low-fat stuff. I remember being in my recliner saying to my wife, Ginny, would you get me another root beer float for my health? And I said to people, all right, now it's laugh, sing, and eat like a pig. And if I get out of this alive, I'm going to write a book, and that's what I'll call it, and that's what we're auctioning off tonight.